So as we start with issue number 2 of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, we pick up with Trish Tilby, who is a news reporter covering the events as they've unfolded since Deadpool had left the compound of the Fantastic Four and begun killing various superheroes and supervillains. Now, Trish Tilby in the main Earth 616 universe is, of course, still a reporter and also a romantic interest for Beast, for Hank McCoy. And so this is Marvel telling us that in this reality, she pretty much plays the same role. And what she tells us is that a multitude of villains and superheroes have been killed by Deadpool, which of course include Doctor Doom and Howard the Duck. And of course, because of the fact that the X-Men are counted among those individuals who have been killed, she laments the fact that Hank McCoy is one of the people who have died. At this point, we transition to New York and we meet up with Deadpool as he's, confronting or fighting with Spider-Man. And of course, Spider-Man is doing what he can to hold off Deadpool, but again, due to his healing factor, Deadpool is quite formidable. And Deadpool says that the whole reason why he's here is for the purpose of killing Spider-Man, that again, he's continuing his role of killing various superheroes and various supervillains due to the fact that he's unleashed the part of himself that is now a total murderer. And what Spider-Man says is that multiple people have tried to kill him before, that a lot of the psychopaths that he's gone against have tried and they've all failed, and that Deadpool won't be any different. He also tells Deadpool that he needs to watch out for the asphalt because Deadpool is presumably falling to his death. At this point, Deadpool falls and smashes into a police car, and when he does, of course, a gathering crowd along with Spider-Man believes that it's possible he may be dead, but then Spider-Man says that of course it's a good thing that Deadpool has a healing factor, which of course is what allows Deadpool to heal from his injuries. And as Deadpool begins to come to, Spider-Man says that he's not the kind of person to kill people, that he's not the kind of person that would kill Deadpool. And so he says that it's lucky that he is this kind of person, otherwise he would have killed Deadpool for what it was that he's done. And again, Deadpool, maintaining this aspect of his character that's based on parody, says that the writers would not have allowed Spider-Man to break his character, and so they wouldn't have allowed Spider-Man to kill Deadpool anyway, which of course is again Deadpool breaking the fourth wall and relating to us as readers with regards to how it is that writers write the character of Spider-Man. What we also see Spider-Man saying is that he doesn't want to hear any more nonsense from Deadpool, that he's had enough, that Deadpool's annoying him, and again, that Deadpool's going to go down here, that Deadpool's going to be defeated. But what Deadpool says is that he's not here, that he's not going to cut Spider-Man, and instead, what Deadpool does is put a gun to the bottom of Spider-Man's head and blow the top of his head off. And so, of course, Deadpool comments on this, he makes a joke about this, and he makes a reference to the Spider-Man No More series, and so on, and again says that the mistake the psychopaths made was simply just not shooting him with a gun, which would have been a much easier alternative than trying to fight him in hand-to-hand combat. At this point, Deadpool makes his way, he leaves the scene, and when he does, again, the third voice, the voice of the psychopathic killer in his mind, begins to comment. Of course, Deadpool says that this was very fun, and he says, "Who's next?" And the voice says, "It doesn't matter who's next, that as long as everybody dies, that's the only real objective, it's the only real thing that matters." From here, we of course see Deadpool commenting and having this conversation with himself, where Deadpool says that it matters that he's doing all this, that he's killing these smaller people, that he has bigger fish to fry, that he needs something much, much larger. The voice in his head says no, says that's the old Deadpool talking, that he doesn't need to impress anybody so long as he's able to kill everyone. But again, Deadpool's having this conflict and says that no, he wants it to be a much bigger spectacle. He wants to kill a much more prominent group of people. And so what we do is we transition to the Avengers headquarters. And what we have is the more common Avengers. We have, of course, Spider-Woman, Wolverine, Hawkeye, Luke Cage, Captain America, Carol Danvers, Thor, and Tony Stark. And they're talking about everything that's happened so far. They're talking about how Deadpool has, in effect, killed a majority of the superheroes, which of course includes the Avengers, or a multitude of the Avengers, and that this group that we see here appears to be the only group of the Avengers left. And they're of course trying to find out what it is that they're going to do. They're trying to come to a decision and make a plan on what their course of action is going to be. But before they're able to go too much further, Jarvis runs in and says that Hank Pym is missing, that Hank Pym is gone. And of course Tony Stark panics and is trying to figure out what's taking place here when Wolverine uses his sense of smell and realizes that the Pym particles that belong to Hank Pym are in the room, and that he's realized who it is that Deadpool's going after. And what we see is that the a massive weapons cache is, I guess, enhanced, or it's grown back to its regular size using Pym particles, and of course all these weapons and armament explode, which results in the explosion of the Avengers Mansion, or of the Avengers Tower, which of course leaves Wolverine almost totally destroyed, as well as the death of all the other Avengers as well. From here, we see that as Deadpool is making his way through, as he's making his way around, that Luke Cage emerges as one of the individuals who has survived. And Luke Cage says that it would take a lot more than an explosion to kill somebody with unbreakable skin. And Deadpool says he had thought about that. He thought about that kind of problem for people that were as strong as he was, or as capable as Luke Cage was. And so what he had done is he had taken Pym particles and he had put them in the coffee that Luke Cage was drinking. And when Luke Cage started to drink the coffee, he of course consumed the Pym particles. And at this point, what Deadpool does is he uses the helmet of Hank Pym to expand the Pym particles and in return kill Luke Cage. From here, we of course see that Thor arrives. And Thor, using the hammer, using Mjolnir, goes on the offense against Deadpool in an attempt to get revenge on the death of the Avengers. But Deadpool says that again, this is something that he had considered, and what he does is, using the Pym particles, he kicks the hammer of Thor back at Thor, and then uses the helmet of Ant-Man to grow the hammer to a massive size, asking the question, which is stronger, the hammer of Thor or Thor's skin? And of course, the hammer is able to crush Thor entirely. And of course, Thor is caught very off guard by this. He's very surprised to realize that Deadpool was able to kill him using his own he was surprised that Deadpool was able to kill him using his own hammer. And what Deadpool does is he walks up to the body of Thor and he squeezes Thor's nose and says boop. But from here, we transition back to Deadpool again as he's having this conversation with the voice in his head, with the murderous side of himself. And this voice asks the question, are you satisfied? And Deadpool, of course, conversing with himself, asks whether or not he should be. And the voice says no. The voice says that Deadpool should never be satisfied until all the superheroes are dead, until everyone's dead. And so what Deadpool does is continue going on his onslaught, going on his path of killing various superheroes. At this point, we transition to Deadpool going against the Incredible Hulk. And again, the Incredible Hulk is able to physically tear the body of Deadpool apart, tearing him from limb, and of course ripping his head off. The Incredible Hulk goes on a rage saying that Deadpool had killed his friends, that he had killed the Incredible Hulk's enemies, and that he is now an enemy of the Incredible Hulk. Hulk says that he's the only one that gets to kill his enemies, that Deadpool doesn't have this right. And so once Deadpool's torn apart, the Incredible Hulk leaves, goes into a cave, and then goes back into his normal form of Bruce Banner. And it's at this point that Deadpool reconstitutes himself from his head and uses his sword to cut the head of Bruce Banner off, effectively killing the Incredible Hulk, which of course is the question that many people were asking of how it was that Deadpool would be able to kill the Incredible Hulk in the first place. And so from here, we again continue on this road. We continue with this story as we see that Aunt May and Mary Jane and various other people who are friends of X-Men and Avengers and so on, the people who have been killed, have come together. And the whole reason why they're meeting is because they're pulling all their resources together. They're pulling all their valuables, whether it be money or some form of jewelry or anything that has any real value to it, and they've brought it to a table. And the reason why they've brought this to the table is because they're hiring Taskmaster, and they're hiring Taskmaster for the purpose of going after Deadpool and killing Deadpool. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.